Bonjour everyone!
Hello!
Hello, this is Marie from My Pride Paris. We are an agency in Paris specialized in custom tours and tailor-made experiences. And today we are here with Marie.
Marie as well.
So two Marie for this tour today. And we are right in the middle of Paris. Maybe you know this area, it's called the Golden Triangle.
Oui.
It's the fashion district of Paris. We are right by Rue Saint-Honoré. So we're going to talk today about fashion. And this week is very specific because it's the
Fashion Week.
It's the Fashion Week. So we are during the time of COVID. So that's why we're going to wear a mask. We're not going to be that fashionable today.
Oh, they're pretty.
Yeah? Is they good? Okay. Fitting well. Trying to do the colors you see, so even with the mask we can still be
much
fashion.
better than I do.
So today, we're going to talk about the Fashion Week a little bit. Of course, this beautiful neighborhood. Marie, you're also very intrigued by Coco Chanel, right?
Yes,
you love
she's
Coco
a fashion
Chanel.
icon. I don't especially love her,
Okay.
to be honest.
Okay.
But I found her quite fascinating.
Yeah, she's fascinating, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's for
so we're going to talk about her and how she made herself very famous, but also
How she
there's
changed
some
fashion.
Yes, of course, and there is some dark stories
Yeah,
about her as well.
obviously.
So I don't know if you guys know more about the life of Coco Chanel, but today the idea is to discover the
good and the
things
bad.
and the bad things. Okay, but we're also going to see how Paris is during this time of COVID. Even if there is fashion around us, you will see it's very quiet, which is great for us to show you guys how it is now. So yeah, let's do that.
Let's do
go.
that.
So Marie, where should we start with?
I guess
Just right
right
here.
there.
Okay,
It's
yeah, we have
written.
a Chanel.
Chanel.
Perfect. Okay. So here, Rue Saint-Honoré, it's known for being also for Hermès, Longchamp, so all the
Exactly.
great brands, right? So we have Chanel here.
Burberry.
Is that the original? No. Okay.
There are actually almost half the buildings of the street belong to Chanel now.
Okay, so they own.
They own
Here.
a lot of buildings, yeah, that's
Okay.
for sure. But the first shop is not a Chanel shop anymore. We're still going to see it.
Okay.
And the main shop is a bit further up, so we're going to see it too.
We're gonna see the main one. Okay.
Yes, what we call la maison mère.
Okay, la maison
mother
mère.
house.
But here, it seems like they have the whole building.
They have the whole building, absolutely.
And-
they have a lot of offices.
And just behind us, we have. So here, that's the whole building of Dior. Which is okay. So we have it's
Chanel
like the
and
two
Dior.
monsters of fashion. in France.
Exactly, and funny thing because they were nemesis. Actually, Coco Chanel thought she was nemesis of Dior.
Okay, can you tell us more about it? So why were they enemies or?
Because of the aesthetic reasons, actually. Because Chanel and Dior had a very different vision of fashion.
Okay.
And back then, it's in the 50s. Christian Dior is the fashion designer.
Okay.
And his silhouettes do not please Coco Chanel at all because he put that women in corsets and he gave them like fluffy.
It's like this
Barbie dress,
old-fashioned and dresses, like
fluffy
puffy
dresses,
and
exactly,
fluffy.
puffy dresses,
Okay.
and that's exactly what she was fighting. So she was not very happy about that.
Okay.
His look is called the new look. And she actually came back because back then she was not working anymore. She actually came back because she thought she had to fight Christian Dior.
Okay, so Christian Dior is the one that's kind of conservative in a way?
Yeah.
Or would you say
New
that?
And
New.
she thought that was too
But
conservative.
for Coco Chanel
sure.
is the
Yeah.
conservative and she will be the modern thinking.
Yeah. She
Do
thought that.
do you think the fact that he was a man and she was a woman, is that?
No,
No,
not
not
really,
so.
because she also has female nemesis, if I may say, like
Ah.
Schiaparelli,
Okay.
who is the Italian designer, and yeah, she thought she had a fight to lead or something.
Okay, so now we're starting with a Coco Chanel that is kind of a fighter, getting
Yeah.
into a fashion duel. Okay.
Many fashion jewels.
So what is her specialty? Because you say so she doesn't like corsets, she doesn't like fluffy dresses. So what is she bringing to the fashion in France?
She was a very interesting character. She was very androgynous. She loved the men's wardrobe.
Okay.
She actually dressed herself with her like lover's dress clothes.
Oh, okay.
And main reason is she thought that fashion for women back then was a little too much. She
Okay.
said there's too many frou-frou.
So,
like
so
fluffy
more, she wanted something simple, more simple.
and more comfortable.
So, and here, here it's mostly, I would say, feminine if we have to
Yes.
make a gender. But here you can look at something. The pants looks more masculine. And again, I'm doing
Absolutely.
that because
But she wouldn't be pleased with some other things you can see here.
Ah, okay,
Like,
that's
way
interesting.
too short, for instance.
Too short for the time because of
not
course
really,
no?
because in the 60s she was still in the game.
Yeah.
And in fashion, you have what we call the chaleng length.
Ah, okay. So
which is
let's show the
right-
people. Okay, so
like right
okay, so in the
above
50s,
or
this,
around the knee.
okay, this is good.
This is good because Chanel thought that knees were ugly.
Oh, okay. So,
you-
she doesn't
let's
like
not
this.
show them.
Okay.
She said, "I don't want to see knees. Where would they
Okay.
go?" So it's not a question of like really it's too short. It's just like you see the knees and she doesn't like it.
Okay, so no knees. So that means just something just under there.
right under
Okay.
there, and you know. if
And
you
what
sit,
about
it's gonna be there.
and what about the, because now you have to know that we have a big debate about how much can we show now of here.
Tenue républicaine.
So at the time, what does she think about that? Like, is she showing? Is there maybe no, I don't know. Maybe on the other side.
Yes.
So so how did they consider showing the top, let's say, for the woman?
The top, she was not really about the top, but she was very modern for the bottom.
Okay. So
Because she's the one who invented dresses that were way shorter than that was made before.
okay. So the knee, but it was short.
Very sexy
already.
for the time.
Ah.
Seems weird for us, but
Okay.
women had like very long dresses up to the ankle. Actually, you wouldn't even see the ankle. If you were seeing the ankle, that was already very ooh la la.
D'accord. Okay.
And she made the shorter dresses. So that was
Okay, so it's not we don't really care about how it is there.
Not really.
We do care much about the
yes,
legs.
because also just like not just she was not the only one, but she didn't put women into corset.
Okay, so she freed
Like
the
Paul
woman
Poiret.
out of
Paul Poiret was the first
Paul
French
Poiret.
famous haute-couture designer who decided to like just forget about corset. So because of that, the waist is not very important, and the top has to be like simple and straight.
and kind of loose. I mean, a little more
looser than what you had before, definitely.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, and so so you say that over there is la maison mère.
Yes.
So the mother,
the mother
the
house,
mother
like
house
the
of Coco
main
Chanel.
house of Chanel.
Is there still something interesting to see over there?
Yes, there is actually. The entire building is dedicated to Chanel, and
Okay.
you have workshops there.
What type of workshop? What did you do there?
You don't have like the main one. You have what we call les petites mains.
D'accord.
So the little hands.
So it's people actually doing the sewing
Exactly.
accessories.
That's how you recognize like a prêt-à-porter, like a ready-to-wear brand, and a haute couture, high fashion brand.
So what is Chanel? I mean, just for the people that have no idea of the fashion. So what is the difference between haute couture and prêt-à-porter, and Chanel? Is it one or the other?
Alors, Chanel is actually what we call haute couture. It's
Haute couture.
Haute couture,
Okay.
which is a French specificity. I told you, said it. It's Fashion Week this week.
Yes.
But it's the ready-to-wear Fashion
It's
Week.
the ready-to-wear fashion week.
You have two haute couture fashion weeks, which are happening in summer and winter.
Okay.
And those are only happening here in Paris.
Okay.
And they include haute couture brands, which are like part of the federation. It's like protected. There's a whole thing about it. So Chanel is haute couture.
Okay. So Chanel will, for example, not doing what we call a défilé in French here. So they won't on this season. They don't show anything to the public.
They will. They do both for a
they
very
do
simple
both.
reason, because high fashion haute couture doesn't make as much money as people would expect. Because it's costing a lot of money to make pieces that are worth a lot of money, not so many customers. You employ craftsmen in workshops that are usually here in France. It's mandatory, actually. And because of that, it's costing a lot of money, so they actually make money through the prêt-à-porter, ready-to-wear.
That's interesting. Okay, so haute couture is everyone is
Creation,
dreaming.
pure
Everyone is
design.
dreaming about haute couture, but in reality, what is bringing the money to those brands are the prêt-à-porter and also the accessories. So I'm
Exactly.
looking at the bags right now. Of course, everyone dream about the Chanel bags. It's like a classical. It didn't change so much since the beginning of the brand, right? It's always the same style, always a chain.
Very graphic, geometric.
Very black also. Chanel is using a lot of black. Was it something
very adventurous?
Very
Yes,
adventurous, right?
It was. Actually, in 1926, she invented what we call the little black dress, la petite robe noire,
Oui.
which became an iconic piece of every woman's wardrobe, and back then was kind of crazy because it's a mourning color, and she created it also after the war. Which is quite important. Everything is actually, the fact that she became so famous is also linked to history and the war, especially the First World War.
I see.
So at first people were skeptical because there were a lot of widows after the First World War, so you could see tons of women wearing black in the city. And she thought it was an elegant color and wanted to change it and to change people's perception about it.
Okay, so she's kind of like taking something that was kind of a sad moment where everyone was dressing in black and changing into the fashion. That's a very interesting. And it's true that now everyone has a little black dress in their closet. I'm sure that the ladies watching us has also a little black dress. So it's still very common, let's say. Okay, so that's for this. And so the main entrance is over there. Maybe we can have a look at the building because it's. Oh, it's 31, so that's the number of the maison. Okay.
The address is so famous that actually people call it just the 31 Rue Cambon, not even Chanel. They know that it's Chanel.
Yes. And it's not too tacky. I mean, it's very sober, white and black. Yeah.
She didn't like tacky at all.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, the boutique. We're not going to enter in the boutique, obviously, but if you guys come in Paris. It's all black and white inside. It's very and a little bit of gold, just very elegant gold. So that's very nice. So
exactly, she got inspired by her lovers.
There's a portrait of her just right here.
She loved gold because of one of her lovers who was a Grand Dimitri of Russia.
Okay.
And that's when she turned into like more Barocco and like golden style and
so
like
it's the influence of this
Europe.
lover from Russia.
Exactly.
Okay, but maybe we're gonna see on the way we're gonna see other boutiques, of course, and not just Chanel with all the jewelry, and we're gonna talk maybe more about the jewelry the time. But here we can see a portrait of Coco Chanel here.
I can see the famous stairs.
And the famous stairs. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna see that well on the camera, but so can you tell? Can you tell us more about these stairs?
So this building is iconic because it's the first place where you have the shop, where you have Chanel's apartments, and also where you have workshops.
I see.
So it's all in one. That's why it's like the main.
That's why it's iconic. Yes.
Exactly. And you have those famous steps which are featured in some movies. If you've watched like Coco avant Chanel, Coco before Chanel.
Yeah, with Audrey Tautou.
Exactly. You can see those steps here with the glasses, which are not just here for aesthetic reasons. Actually, it's funny because they had the shows here before on the first floor.
Yes.
So first floor for us. I know Americans, it's a bit different. This is the ground, so it's 0.
Yeah. First floor.
And she could actually check the models going down through the stairs because of the mirrors, and she could check the reaction of the journalists and the customers.
Okay.
So that was also to control everything. She was a bit of a control freak.
Okay.
But yeah, the steps are really pretty.
Yeah, the stairs are pretty. So Audrey Tautou is making this movie, so Coco Chanel. If you want to know more about her life, do you think it's relevant? Do you think the movie is actually accurate?
Yeah, it's not always completely accurate because it's cinema, so
it
doesn't matter. It's fine. And you can sense that she was like a strong woman, not always too kind. Also, if I may say.
Because I remember from the movie that, for example, she's very inspired by when she grew up. She was in this nuns kind of environment, and all the crosses, things like that. Okay. That's kind of get inspired. Is that true? You think?
That's the problem with Chanel is she rarely talked about her childhood. She didn't like it so much, and some of the things she said were actually fake stories.
Okay.
So we don't know.
We don't know.
There was indeed a Chanel saying Couvent de Voisines, and that's potentially where she grew up.
Okay.
That's what people say.
Yes.
That's what she said also, but some other version says that she was living in Brittany back then with her aunts and cousins. So there's no way to say, but indeed, if it's true, the convent did inspire her greatly because of like the windows, especially the stained glasses, and more importantly, black and white was the outfit of the nuns.
Yeah, you see here the black and white again on a bottle of perfume, I guess, or is it a bag? Oh, it's a bag
inspired by the perfume. We're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about the perfume later. Okay, that's great. Okay, this is really going to all the way to the top, like the bag in the shape of perfume. Okay, why not? So here, Rue Cambon, known especially for Chanel, and Rue Saint-Honoré for all the other brands. Do you think it's because we are close to the Louvre? Is that or by the Opera? How do you justify, let's say, the fact that all those brands are here, the same location?
The first couturier, the first important fashion designers would indeed stay here.
Ah, okay.
Around Place Vendôme, La Paix, Saint-Honoré, etc. And it's also probably because of the proximity of the opera house in Paris. That's where you show off. It's not really for the show. By the way, that was actually Chanel's first boutique, which is not a Chanel boutique anymore.
Okay. Still very beautiful though.
Then, funny thing, she was actually not selling clothes, she was selling hats.
Ah, okay.
She started that way, in fact.
So she started with a hat, then
exactly.
went to clothes.
Exactly. So the first boutique where she sold both hats and clothing was in fact in Biarritz.
In Biarritz, okay, so that's in Pays Basque where Bertrand is from.
Exactly.
And so, was she Parisian? Yeah, he's a cameraman also today. So was she from there?
A lot of people think because she's typically like what people think of the Parisian woman.
Okay.
No, not at all. She was born in Saumur, Pays de la Loire, where they have excellent wine.
Yes, yes, indeed.
And she then moved either to Bretagne, like I told you, or to this province, Le Couvent de Basile. And later went to Moulins. Actually, that's where she got her nickname of Coco.
Ah, because what is her real name? I didn't even ask.
Gabrielle Bonheur
Gabrielle,
Chanel.
of course.
Gabrielle
Okay.
Bonheur Chanel.
Okay.
She had a rough childhood, to be honest. She was like abandoned. Her mother died when she was 12.
Oh, okay.
She was abandoned by her dad. So were her siblings, in fact. That's why she made up a lot of stories about her childhood. Yes. Better not lose her government. And she especially focused on, getting out of her poverty. I think that's why she was taking luxury her entire life. It's because she had a tough beginning,
yes,
at least.
Yes.
And that also can explain why she was such a tough woman and not always very kind. And when she was in Moulins, her big goal originally was not to be a fashion designer. She knew how to sew, she was pretty good at it. But you need to imagine that back in the early 20th century, every woman almost knows how to sew. It's not like something exceptional.
Yeah.
She wanted originally to be a singer. So she was performing in cabarets. In Moulins, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is how she got the big nickname Coco.
Coco?
Because it comes from a song, Qui a vu Coco? Dans le Trocadéro.
Okay, I don't know this song.
It's an old song.
So it's a whole song. Okay.
And it's funny because it's like a lady who's looking for her dog. She lost it in the Trocadéro, and it's quite fun.
Okay, well I will look for the song. So okay, Qui a vu Coco. So here. So if we continue that way, let's go to Longchamp, to Hermès, but today we don't have the time to do all of them, so we're going to continue that way. And I can see a lot of brands. Cadolle, that's a French brand.
That's a French brand. It's a famous. You can't tell from here, but
should we have a look?
Maybe we should have a look.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. I love to, discover new things. Because I heard about Cadolle, but I don't think I ever saw the boutique before.
So they have an entrance on the other side. I don't
yes.
know about this one.
Well, we'll see.
It's a nice courtyard, so it's a nice okay.
kind of experiencing a new thing. So what is Cadolle?
Have a hint right now.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I love the fact that we are in this tiny courtyard. You know, in Paris, you always push a door and then you realize there is plenty of other buildings hiding there. So
I always tell people to just sneak in. If someone says anything, you say, "Oh, I'm lost."
Yeah, exactly. So what is Cadolle? So it's a brand of
It's a
lingerie.
It's a lingerie brand, and the story of Cadolle is quite interesting because it was founded. It's a family business still today.
Okay.
It was founded by a very cool woman, Eugénie Herminie. Actually, that's how she called herself later. Herminie Cadolle.
Okay.
Who's quite interesting. She participated in the Commune of Paris, which is a revolution, the last revolution,
Yeah.
1871. She was a friend of important figures of that revolution, such as Louise Michel.
Okay.
She was a feminist. She was a pretty cool woman.
Yeah.
And she, at some point, opened her own lingerie brand.
Oh, I think you would. Yeah, please. Allez-y, allez-y.
Cherchez la boutique?
I don't know. When you're a guide, you're always guiding people around. You know, that's what we do. That's our job.
I told you, if someone tells you anything, you say you're lost. It happens all the time, you see. So she founded her own lingerie brand, and we can all thank her because Hermine Cadolle is the woman who invented the bra.
The bra. Can we thank her or?
That's the thing. Today there's another like.
But before it was corsets, like it was the entire one, and then
so
she invented only the bra.
I swear you would rather wear a bra than a corset.
Okay.
Today is different. It's like I like this whole debate about whether to wear a bra or not. Back then, no choice. You had a corset.
Okay. Okay. So thanks to her, it's less. It's a bit lighter, and you just have the bra.
Very simple but like brilliant idea. What do we need about this like corset, a torturous instrument? We need just the upper part to support the breast, so why not get rid of the rest?
That's a good idea.
Get rid of the rest, actually.
That's cool.
And she created it in the late 19th century, so 1889.
Okay.
But that didn't went well right away because problem is the fashion designer did not follow her lead. So they were not creating dresses or outfits that could be worn without the corset.
I see.
So it took actually a while for women to really
wear the bra and to get used to that.
Jean-Paul Poiret, like we said, or like later Chanel, nobody would really like fit in the dress if you were not wearing corset.
So Coco Chanel was wearing the bra, or?
She was probably wearing bras, yeah, but probably also no bras.
No
she
bras,
was definitely
okay.
against corset. And thankfully, because those were like terrible, then corset really started to be a thing in the Renaissance time.
Mm-hmm.
And back then they were made with like 12 bones, and then later it became like more metallic pieces, but it's like injuries in front of ladies, miscarriages.
Oh wow.
Things like that.
Yeah, it looks terrible. So it's true that we think about fashion as something superficial, but in that sense, it's completely the opposite. It's part of the feminist way. I mean, really to.
Think of fashion like superficial, like.
But it could be also statement. It could be also to free the body of the woman.
What people don't get is that fashion is exactly the representation of society and history.
I see.
And how people dress is how they live in their century and their time, and it's extremely linked. And this is what I told you about Chanel earlier, about how history helped her become famous. It's because during the war, the First World War, women all of a sudden had to work.
Okay.
Because men were fighting, so no more men in factories. Women had to work, and they had to wear a different outfit. They had to wear something that could be more comfortable and more convenient for being, active.
Yeah, makes sense.
And this is how that was her vision of fashion already, and this is how she became a big thing thanks to the war, if you may say.
Here, so we were facing Giorgio Armani, we passed Chloe, so there is all these brands. It's also a place that is known for 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So here we're standing just in front of the Mandarin Oriental. You see finest 5-star property in the world. It's a palace. So this is not all the 5 stars hotel have that. It's really when it's 5 star plus. It's really when you're reaching the top of the top here. So it's one of them, but we also have the Ritz not far that we are about to see. The Crillon. So we have a lot of palaces around the Meurice. So it's true that if you want to see some stars, could be actress or models or anyone. That's a good neighborhood to come in, right? To just go around and waiting for the next star to arrive.
It happened to me actually. I saw Anna Wintour going out of the video.
You saw Anna Wintour just coming up. Okay.
Finishing the tour of mine, I should say.
And you just say hello to Anna like that, like, hey. Okay. Well, actually, they made a movie about Anna Wintour called The Devil, right? The Devil Wears Prada. That's inspired of Anna Wintour. So, I mean, we don't know her personally, just saying that she has quite a reputation. But maybe like Chanel. I mean, she also had quite a reputation. So, maybe also those women, business women, it's hard for them. Yeah, they have to be tough because they have to impose their views on the society.
That's true.
So, yeah. This little passage, should we take that?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever been around this passage before. I mean, I passed in front, but I don't know what is behind here. So let's have a look. So it's not just for girls. I mean, we talk about a lot of boutiques for women, but it's also, like I see the James Bond here, so Omega. It's also a neighborhood where men can find their suits, their watches.
Absolutely, men's fashion became a thing in France a long time ago.
There's still a lot of watches here.
We think it's really took off after the reign of Louis XIV. For their simple reason, actually a political reason, there was a regency, La Régence, and people got less interested in politics, and they all of a sudden had a lot of time, and it was okay back then to be more interested in like lighter topics or more superficial topics such as how you get dressed.
Okay.
And this is when they really started to get into fashion. Plus timing, the mind of the time is changing. It's okay to be a bit more vain. It's not as bad as it used to be before.
Okay, so being more into little things. Okay, that's great. Oh wow! I think you better watch that. Wow, that's a nice view. That's a nice way of coming here. Place Vendôme. Here we are. That's beautiful. So we're kind of sneaking in the Place Vendôme. We should have a look around. This is a known place for all the greatest brands. Wow. Okay. So much to see. I don't know where to start. Oh, and of course a photo shoot, because it's Fashion Week. So we have here a model doing the photo shoot. You seen that?
So normally, yeah, it's true because of the pandemic. It's a bit more quiet, which is better for us. You said it. Normally, this square is like invested like by fashion designers, but also like bloggers and just random photo shoots or random people just taking pictures around here.
Yeah, because it's not such a busy place. That's what is funny is there is always space to make your shoot, to make obviously there is always space to show off, let's say, in Place Vendôme. It's not like there is coffees or restaurant. It's to show off or to buy something, but so it's kind of a strange place. I love the fact that we have a photo shoot here.
Shop, right? I don't know. I cannot buy anything here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe not to shop. No, just to look then. Just to look.
Yeah, to window shop, to window lick. Actually, that's how we say in French. To window licking for
so
window shopping.
Yeah, lèche vitrine in French. Okay, so we're approaching now one of the top palaces in the world, the Ritz. So maybe some of you guys know the place. Maybe you've been here when you stayed in Paris. They renovated all of it like a few years ago, so it looks much modern than it used to be. But it's one of the most ancient palaces that we have in Paris, And it's one of the oldest. I heard a story that say that this was one of the first time in history we saw a bathtub in the bedroom. Is that true?
It's true.
Okay, so before that you had a room, but nothing really to get clean, right? Or just maybe just a little,
Like a
little
pot
sink.
and some water.
Okay, so here it's when they really invented, let's say, the room with, you know, those
Hygienic.
more hygienic. Okay, and so do you like the Ritz? Like, if you had to, let's say you had to choose any of the palaces in Paris, would you like to choose here?
Good question. I would prefer probably le Mandarin Oriental. the
Ah,
first
le
one.
Mandarin Hôtel. Okay, good to know. Good to
But,
know.
you know, if someone wants to offer me like a night at the Ritz, I won't say no.
Because the Ritz is known for having people like Hemingway that used to come here.
Exactly. The bar actually at the Ritz is called Hemingway Bar.
To the Hemingway's bar. So if you ever come in Paris and
have the
you
best
can't
barman.
afford a room there, you can still have a cocktail at the Ritz in the Hemingway's bar.
Actually, because the barman of the Hemingway Bar won the award of best like mixologist in the world.
Ah, okay. So if you want like
So
good
if you want
good
to
check.
treat yourself, because the cocktails, I did it once. The cocktails are pretty expensive, but it's worth it. If
It's
you
worth
do
it.
once,
Okay.
and it's a really cool bar, and yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
If you want the Ritz experience without having to spend thousands of euros,
Yeah.
you go to the bar and you take a drink.
And what is interesting about the Ritz is it's not just this part that we see on Place Vendôme. It's actually huge. It's
You
all
have a
block.
courtyard behind. They have their
So we
own
don't
private
see it,
garden.
unfortunately. But yeah, it's going all the way there.
Exactly. And it's going all the way behind where we were earlier, actually. on Rue Cambon, where
Yeah, okay.
Chanel,
Yeah, the back door, the famous
exactly.
back door. Because I don't know if you guys remember also when Lady Di stayed here, she went through the back door when they left and had the accident, right? So the back door is yeah, so it's on Rue Cambon.
It's on Rue Cambon, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is probably one of the reasons why Coco Chanel lived here.
Ah, yeah, true. So she lived here. So she had a room here and she rented that for how long?
For more than 20 years, actually.
Yeah? Wow, okay. So she lived there. So Coco Chanel had
There's a room
enough
now.
money to be here.
Yeah, she actually at some point did not pay for her room anymore. So, but she at some point had enough money to spend her entire life in the Ritz.
Wow.
She was like the.
Is
was her
that a goal we want?
apartment.
Like to have enough money to stay?
Live at the
I don't
Ritz?
know. It feels a bit spoiled. But why not?
I think I can get used to it quite easily.
But during the war, during the World War, the Second World War, during the occupation, we know that this neighborhood, especially Le Meurice, even the Ritz, Nazi soldiers were here, Nazi officers were staying in the most beautiful hotel, probably Place Vendôme and all of that.
Absolutely.
So at the time, was she living in Paris?
Exactly,
She was
she
under
was.
the occupation?
So that's one of the dark parts of Coco Chanel.
Okay, so now we're getting to the dark parts. Okay.
There's a few dark parts, but yeah. So as you know, Hitler made Paris kind of his like little dream place for the Nazi commanders.
It was like a
and
Disneyland for
it was
Hitler,
kind
right?
of,
Yeah, we can say that.
It's just that, you know, the industries such as like haute-couture, for instance, or arts were still blooming during the occupation time because the Germans could afford everything here.
Okay.
So here it was like paradise for them. They settled in the best places, and Ritz was one of the two headquarters of the Luftwaffe.
Ah, okay. So it's more than important than
Exactly,
okay.
and it was also the hotel designed, appointed to welcome all the special guests from the Reich.
Okay.
So all people traveling
All the
from
guests,
Germany
yeah.
would stay here.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, Chanel lived there at that time, which was later seen as a big problem, obviously. Especially since she had an affair with a Nazi commander.
Okay, so now we're getting into it. Okay, so she had an affair.
She was known to be working for the Abwehr, the spy section of.
And that's we're sure of it. We are
now
sure.
we have proof. We have
Proof that she did have a lover in the other camp.
I have no idea,
Okay.
but she did had an affair with him for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
And that lasted after the war. also.
Ah, interesting.
And she did live here and had no problems, which is weird because obviously if you are living amongst Nazis at some point, you know, something might happen to you.
Yes.
Nothing happened to her. We don't know why she stayed here. She honestly, when you asked me earlier, do I love her? Not a big.
Of course.
I do admire
Of
the woman,
course,
but
yeah.
I think she's a woman who had very high didn't have very high moral standards.
Ah,
So
interesting.
I don't think she was really living the Nazis' truth and this whole ideology, but she was an opportunist, that's for sure.
She was an opportunist. Okay, you can
So
say
she
that.
thought like it's more comfortable for me to keep on living here or do whatever I have to.
I see. And you say that their affair, their relationship, we can say it's a relationship.
They had a
it lasts longer. It's after the war. But some of the ladies that had affairs with officers, we know that after the war, they shaved their heads because for the people it was really they were traitors.
They were traitors, yeah.
So she was also considered a traitor at the time, or they didn't find?
Complex.
Oh, they didn't find
You
out.
asked me about the proof.
Yes.
We found out about those proof like not such a long time ago. Back in the days we didn't have them. They were just like suspicions.
Mm-hmm.
So she was actually at the end of the war. She was indeed questioned by the FSI, les Forces Françaises de l'Intérieur,
Mm-hmm.
the resistance, and they had suspicion that he was a spy, and her code name was Westminster. So she was dated as the Duke of Westminster.
I see.
He was known to be a bit of a anti-Spanish person himself.
Okay.
And she was interrogated and nothing happened to her. We don't know exactly why. It's either because we didn't have the solid proof like I told you, or maybe because she was indeed friends with very important persons, and amongst them Churchill himself.
I see.
And some people say that he intervened and that somehow she just got out of it. But there's for sure one thing. She did left France after that. She went to Switzerland.
Okay. So when it was getting a little bit more dirty.
At the end of the war, she did left for a long time, almost 15 years in fact, because she sensed that she was not welcome, probably.
Welcome anymore, yeah.
And she spent a long time there.
Okay, so that could explain why you don't love her. I mean, she made us free, let's say, of corset and a lot of things, but at the same time having this dark history. I see here we're approaching Cartier, and now we're talking more about jewelry here. Cartier is also like one of the largest figure in the fashion, but for jewelry, obviously. I heard it's from Napoleon III time. That's the Empress Eugenie that was wearing Cartier. So
there's a lot of brands that actually were promoted because of royals or because of the empire, like you said. Like we can't really see because there's some renovations going on over there, but we passed in front of Chopard, and Chopard was also became also famous because of Napoleon, but Napoleon I.
Okay, so
Napoleon Bonaparte.
So Chopard, Cartier. I heard Vuitton, and there is a Louis Vuitton over there. I heard Vuitton also made himself famous at the time. So that means that most of the brands that we know today, they are from the 19th century or from the 20th century. There is not really anyone known from before that, right? I mean, it's impossible. Yeah?
Yes.
Very
so
few.
Nowadays,
all of here is 19th, 20th century.
You have what we call like the haute-couture, maison de haute-couture, such as Chanel there.
Yes, another Chanel.
So
That's third Chanel.
that's not the first, yes, exactly. That's not the first main activity. That came later. You do have brands that are only jewelry brands.
Yes.
And by the way, they were not very happy when those brands such as Chanel or Dior started to make jewelry themselves. Because they're fashion designers. They're not supposed to be anything else than jewelry makers.
Yeah, well, I just like here just to see
but you do
another
have
brand.
Brands. Further up, there's Mario du Mella, in fact.
Okay.
Which is a very old jewelry brand. They actually made some jewelries for Marie Antoinette.
Okay. Yeah, we can see another one here. So yeah, this is the start of. Wow, I like it. Or should I say I lick it, as it's a window licking. So here we are, at the edge of Place Vendôme, starting of Rue de la Paix. And Rue de la Paix, it's funny because in French that means the Peace Street. If you ever come here, you will see it's full of jewelry and watches. It's really a street for watch the streets. I mean, you cannot, again, you cannot buy anything. I don't know for you guys, we cannot buy anything here for sure. But it's beautiful and it's art. It's really pieces of art. Everything is so marvelous.
Like Fifth Avenue in New York, it's like a window
It's like
shop
the
for
Fifth,
the brands.
yeah, it's like the Fifth Avenue, exactly.
You can first have a look at the Chanel
Yeah, we
shop
should have a
over
look
there.
around here. And it's funny because, okay, normally during the fashion week, these will be packed. This will be crowded especially with Uber, you know, with cars, with limo. Here
also
now it's
motorcycle, like
motorcycle.
like the guys moving the models from shows to shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. Like they're just on a motorcycle and they just take the models out of the shows and bring them somewhere else. Very fun.
But today it's very quiet. We can enjoy the Place Vendôme without, you know, but it's at the same time, I love seeing the models when, you know, with their outfits. It's very intriguing sometimes, depending on the collection, of course, but sometimes you see things never seen in real life, only during the fashion week in Paris. So when is the next one? You say so it's haute couture, so we need to wait for summer, right?
You actually have a lot of
Different,
fashion
okay,
weeks.
so depending
This
on...
is prêt-à-porter, ready to wear women.
Okay.
You have ready to wear men.
Men, yeah.
You have in January the fashion week haute couture, which is only Paris.
Mm-hmm.
It's a French specificity. Then you have, of course, for men, you have the accessory fashion week. You have tons of different ones, in fact.
I see.
But the four main ones are for sure prêt-à-porter, the one we have now. So for winter and spring, and the two haute couture, high fashion in July and January.
I don't see any prices here. Is that common? Like you don't have prices,
Actually,
right?
It's not completely legal. In France, it's mandatory to show the prices in the windows.
Yeah.
Except here and on the Rue de la Paix.
Okay, so it's only in this
It's
zone
like an exception, yes.
because you don't need to ask the price, right?
If you can afford it, usually you don't need to ask the price.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to ask the price and
Like if I ask the price, I will do a heart attack, right? And if
it means probably that you cannot afford it.
yeah, surely.
So that's an exception. Some windows do show the prices. But
Yeah,
some
like
don't
maybe
show,
there and there.
so
Okay.
you don't have a show, probably.
Okay, so there is no prices, so it's really definitely not to buy, but really just to look. So it's like a museum of jewelry.
Exactly.
We talked earlier about Louis XIV. I don't know if you guys can see the detail on the balconies because it's beautiful. It's golden all over the Place Vendôme, and it's a portrait of Louis XIV that is inside this little sun. So I don't know if you can catch that well, because Place Vendôme, so it was made by this King Louis XIV, but at the time it was not for jewelry. So what was the purpose of this place?
Ministries, in fact.
Okay.
There's one still today.
Mm-hmm.
The only public building of the square, which
Okay.
is the Ministère de la Justice, the justice industry.
That is by the Ritz, but it's now
It's by
under
the
renovation,
Ritz,
so it's not very
yes.
beautiful.
Now
Okay.
it's under restoration. now.
Yes. Okay. So it was
but
for ministers. So all the ministers of the kings
they were
used to
supposed
be here.
there. Yeah, they were there at some point, but after that, Versailles costed a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Versailles was not, occupied throughout the year, just several months, so a lot of the buildings have been sold to private investors and has
and
been
that's
private
how-
since then, pretty much.
That's how they kind of lose the.
Exactly. And most of the brands here today are not really independent anymore because they belong to the same big companies such as LVMH, Louis Vuitton.
So Louis
Cambon,
Vuitton, yeah.
Swatch, weirdly, there was a Swatch shop at some point here. People were laughing because Swatch is like.
It's not. Yeah.
I have no idea that they own almost all the luxurious watch brands in the world. So it's part of what we call the Comité Vendôme, the Comité Vendôme.
So here we have Chanel, some Chanel jewelry, some Chanel watches. Okay, well, why not? I know that if you want a vintage Chanel, you better go to the Les Puces, right?
Puces,
To the flea market of Paris. Here, of course, we're talking about the new ones and the new collection. But if you want something from the 60s, from the 80s,
definitely.
that's
Or
where you're going to find some.
specialized vintage shops, but you have to be careful where you buy.
Okay.
Definitely, because there are some very good fake ones.
So here, this place used to be Louis XIV. Now it's known for Chanel. The shape is very original too. It's not square. It's kind of weird because you have those angles that are cut on the side.
It's funny because that gives me the occasion to tell you about the famous, probably one of the most famous Spanish inspiration, which is the perfume.
The perfume, yeah, of course, Chanel. Chanel number 5. Okay, so my first question about this is, why number 5?
Because
and I'm sure everyone is asking the same. So why number 5?
It's her fetish number.
It's a fetish number.
The 5th sample that was presented to her.
Okay, so fetish number because just maybe because she was born on the 5th, or
no, not even.
Not
it's
even.
Like,
okay.
It's like a lucky number.
Okay, a lucky number for the 5th.
Lucky number. If you take a look, she actually presented whole of her new collection on the 5th of May every year.
Okay.
And later, when she had several collections, she actually presented them all on the 5th of the month.
Okay, so the number 5 is a lucky number, and you say it's the 5th sample?
Yes.
So that means she had to select from...
Exactly. So she had the idea of making a perfume. She was not the first one, the first designer to do that. Jeanne Lanvin did it before her. And there were other, of course, couturiers.
Yes.
But she wanted to...
She wanted a perfume. She wanted something different.
That was not very, like, girly. She didn't like the perfume of that time. She didn't like the bottles of perfume of that time. They were very rococo. Like very like curvy and brown.
Okay.
And, more feminine. She hated that, and she hated like the flower scent and the stupid names such as like Nuit d'amour or whatever.
Stupid names, but that's still working. But she wanted something simple. Like when we think Coco Chanel, now we have to think straight to the point, simple.
Sophisticated but simple. So she contacted a nose perfume maker called Ernest Beau.
Okay.
I was in 21. And she told him exactly what she wanted. She had like she was very stubborn. And he did several different tries, and she loved the number 5.
Okay.
And she decided to pick that one, and she called it number 5. And she designed the bottle also herself, which was very modern for the time. And this is why we are here actually, because I'm sure that everyone has in mind like the bottle.
Yeah, the bottle. Yeah, it's kind of square. It's like a cognac kind of bottle, or it's more like a liqueur.
It's like a flask of vodka. Inspired by her lover Dimitri.
Maybe.
So the thing is, if you take a look at those angles here, it's the shape of the Vendôme square. The bottom.
So long and then a little bit of.
Exactly.
So that's exactly the shape.
Angles. That's exactly, if you, especially
shape of the bottle.
Lead of the bottle of the perfume. If you take a view from the Place Vendôme, you'll have the exact same shape.
Exact same shape, exact same
proportion. She loved this
proportion.
neighborhood. She thought it was like the.
Of course, she lived in the Ritz. So why not living, loving this neighborhood?
Exactly. She liked the square, and she thought like this should be the perfect shape, and it was again very like simple, geometric.
Yeah.
That's what she wanted. So.
We talk a lot about the plaza, the Coco Chanel. We didn't even talk about the big thing in the middle. So I think some people are asking like, what are we looking at? So this is not from Louis XIV time. You would expect, but no.
There used to be a horse statue here, though.
Oh, a horse statue of Louis XIV. Okay, and that was changed for the statue of Napoleon. What is he doing here? Why we do have Napoleon the First? Okay, we have to go a bit further, have a look at the detail, because we're looking at something completely different from fashion, completely different from. We are looking at a war triumph column. So I don't know if you guys can see well, but there is Napoleon on the top.
Exactly, there's the statue. But if you're not sure about who's there, just look at the bottom and you have the eagles.
Okay, so at the bottom of the column.
Indication of Napoleon. So, him is there, see on the top.
Yeah, we can see well on the top. We can see also the name engraved at the base of the column.
And the statue of him looks really dressed. What do you think about how he's dressed?
So we're gonna go across here. And okay, so first maybe the base here we see it's written Neapolio, which probably means Napoleon. And here we see the eagle and we see a door. So I just imagine that we can just go through here, but I don't have the keys, so.
So you have Monumentum Bellice.
No, we cannot go. I would love to, but we cannot go. Okay, so but there is a hole here. So apparently you can go all the way
Yes, you
up
have
to the
stairs
column.
going all the way to the top. So this one is dedicated to Belli Germanici, so to a war that Napoleon led against Germanici, but actually it's the empire.
Yeah.
And as you know, when you lose a war, you win a war, you get war tributes.
Okay.
He got cannons,
Okay.
and he decided to use the cannons to build up this monument to his glorious victories.
Okay. So maybe
So he melted them.
maybe you don't really realize how tall, how high the thing is, but it's massive. So you say it's all made
With cannons.
of cannons that
melting cannons.
of melting cannons that he gets from the war. But
That's pretty
but
cool, but quite arrogant.
it's very arrogant. But it's not just like the it's not just bronze, like it's re-sculpted. I mean,
It's
that's
beautifully
very
sculpted. It's like a I don't know if some of you have been to Rome. It's actually inspired by the Trojan
yes,
column
the
of
Trojan
Rome.
column that is in Rome, and it's in marble over there, and it's sculpted with the battle that
Exactly.
happened in the Roman time here. So, do you think this reference is, of course,
On purpose.
Napoleon was obsessed with Rome, so he wanted
Yes.
his own column here.
Exactly.
So
If
that's
you saw the statue, he's dressed like a Roman emperor.
and he's
on the
dressed
top.
like a Roman.
And
Okay.
he's holding like a little statue with like wings, which was probably the statue of Nike, the victory goddess.
The winging victory,
Yeah,
Nike.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
So
interesting.
everything is about like glorification of his person, like the Roman Empire, and of his battles and of
Okay.
his victories.
Okay, now I have the question: why here? I mean, why Napoleon wanted is? I mean, what is the point in linking Place Vendôme
was
and
a-
this? There was an empty space in the middle.
No statue.
There was
of
no
Louis
statue?
XIV
Why not?
anymore. Because of the revolutions, a lot of statues have been removed after especially the first French Revolution.
And we don't want king statues anymore after the revolution, right?
That's the
So we need
reason.
something
But
different.
we had 4 revolutions, and in between 3 more kings, and 2 empires, 2 republics. So some of the destroyed symbols, melting statues, for instance, have been replaced later, and
Okay.
sometimes not very nicely. Like like the tour we did in Place des Vosges.
Yeah, we did. I don't know if you guys remember.
Le Marais.
Maybe you can check on that video. It was in Le Marais. Actually, we do those videos. I'm just saying, we do this video every week. If you want to support us, you can tip your guide. You can also share this video, like it, and just share it with your friends as well. And so we did a video in Le Marais where Marie was telling much more about World War II and all the Marais history. And so if you want to help us, just do that, please.
And we started in Place des Vosges with the replacement statue, which was originally a bronze destroyed in the first revolution.
Yeah, so here, so it's another place, Place des Vosges, Place Vendôme, 2 places that are royal places.
This one is inspired supposedly by the Place des Vosges.
Ah, okay, so it's
Was the
this
first
one
royal
that was inspired
square
by.
and
Okay,
inspired the other royal squares of Paris.
okay, so Place Vendôme, you see, guys, and now it's very associated with the people to Louis Vuitton, the
Exactement.
brand Louis Vuitton, because now they kind of owning a lot of places in Paris. You see a lot of publicity all over also of Louis Vuitton, so it's yeah.
That's Chopard, the aircraft that we were talking about.
Ah, okay, Chopard is on the other side.
Under renovation, of course, sadly. And this was the brand of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Well, I have to point that out because here they're making a renovation, but here it's a beautiful trompe-l'œil that gives us the impression that the Place Vendôme is untouched. It's perfect. So now we are in front of the biggest store of Louis Vuitton here in Place Vendôme, and they have, you can see it. They have a statue, a golden statue of Louis XIV, and I love it because that's pretty cool to see. And it's also reminding us how Louis XIV was someone very humble. Very no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, he nicknamed himself the Sun King. So for some of you that have no idea who is this guy, so he's the one who made Versailles. You have to look at this video. It's really interesting. The video we did in Versailles. You have to understand that Louis XIV, he liked to perform. He like also the show. The Sun King, because of course is shining all over Europe. And he loves also theater and fireworks.
Exactly.
So we can thank him for that, like bringing a bit of joy.
He was a mécène, a patron for the arts, for music. He's the one who probably promoted the French fashion.
Here we are. Okay,
he loved ribbons, for instance, as his thing.
Okay, and feathers.
It was fashionable back then. And he's the one who definitely started to promote the French fashion in the other European royal courts.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to have the French style. It started around that time.
It smells good here.
Smells good.
Yeah. Now we are. It's beautiful because it looks like we are in a little hidden passage, but we're still in the streets. We are Rue Castiglione, and down here on down our feet we have beautiful mosaic that are linked with the boutique. So, for example, this is Annick Goutal, perfume maker, and the boutique is just there. So it's like a red carpet, but made with mosaic. But you have your name, or like the Wall of Fame, but with beautiful mosaic there. So you see the name Castiglione, and it's going on. So I just assume that most of the boutiques have their mosaic like that, like many.
Most of them, yes, absolutely. And this is the perfume, famous perfume. There are other perfume brands. This is the
Okay, you need to show that to our public today because we're talking about macarons. So of course it's very important. Sorry, I know it's a fashion. About haute couture and all that. It's a fashion too. But yeah, exactly. Now food is almost as pretty as the fashion. So La Durée, beautiful. Yeah, it's really neat. Love it.
It smells a bit like food and a bit like perfume also.
Yes, yeah, you need to see that.
Oh, we didn't talk about the perfume number 5 actually.
The perfume itself?
The perfume itself, and how I told you it's a bit of the dark side of Coco Chanel, because she couldn't afford to mass produce a perfume.
Yes.
So she had to associate with businessmen, especially the owner of the Galeries Lafayette, the department store of Paris.
Yes.
And two businessmen, which were the Wertheimer brothers.
Okay.
Paul and Pierre Wertheimer. And they were from an old Jewish family.
Okay.
And they were producing everything. They had the factories, they had the material, all of that. And she needed them. So they negotiated this contract, which she got 10% of the profits.
Okay.
And soon, because of the success of that perfume, she was not thrilled about it. And she started to, she wanted to claim more money. And later on, during the war, during the occupation, obviously as a Jewish family, the Wertheimers left Paris to go to the US and gave the administration of their companies to their friend Philippe Amour. That was to avoid what we call Aryanization of the companies, which are taken by force.
Okay.
And she knew that, and she took that opportunity to get back what she thought was hers, and to take the production and the entire Chanel No. 5 perfume company.
I see.
Saying that she knew that the company was not a real Aryan company, that it indeed still belonged to the Wertheimer, a Jewish family, and you see that's the dark side.
I see.
But it didn't work.
Okay, so she's just not
an angel.
Not an angel. Like you say, kind of opportunist. I think that's a good word for that. Like taking advantage of the situation, and I see. Oh.
All of that is that Chanel belongs to the Wertheimer family now. Yeah, she sold it to them when she was still alive. They financed her last collections, actually. The famous tweed suit that everybody talks about, that was financed by Wertheimer. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, I was just stopping here because here we are watching. We are looking at one of the best pastry chef in Paris, probably in France. His name is Cédric Grolet, and he's a chef pâtissier of the Meurice. So the Meurice is a hotel that is about, we're going to see Le Meurice on the way. So it's a beautiful palace as well as the Ritz. But here they're making beautiful chocolate pastry, and yeah, it's very known. And they're not cheap pastries, but they are amazing. So when you love, you don't count, right?
I'm going to show you. They have a cool concept, which is called the fruits, actually, the fruit.
Yeah, you can see the pastry. So they're not. So they
like you said earlier.
Yeah.
The eye. It feels like you're looking at a real
fruits,
like the fig above, or here you can see
the cacao bean.
Coffee bean. And inside you have different textures, different flavors, but all a part of this theme, which is the fruit. Like for instance, it's probably only coffee.
It looks
and
really
they're
delicious.
like pieces of art. They're quite expensive for pastries, but it's like an entire experience.
Yeah, I was saying the same. So yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's not so far. Also, if you like to have a nice treat, you can go to Angelina, that is also known for hot chocolate. But let's say for the pastries, kind of prefer this place. But if you like to sit and have a nice moment, then Angelina is. Yes,
yeah,
here
Angelina
it's just to
pretty.
take away, but Angelina is.
Yeah, the decor is worth it. It's the same since the beginning of the 20th century. It's like a Belle Époque,
Yes.
beautiful era decor, and it's really worth to see, definitely.
So we're getting back to the beautiful mosaic here, and that leads us to the Tuileries Garden. So at the end of the street Rue Castiglione, that's when the park, the Tuileries, is starting. So this garden linked to the Louvre, and that will be the streets Rue de Rivoli, that is starting from the Louvre going all the way to the Champs-Élysées. And so this street is also known to be pretty nice, or for a long time this was the place to be. I would think now, okay, you have Angelina, you have Le Meurice, so this beautiful palace, but beside that it's more for souvenir shops now, we'll say, Rue de Rivoli. So it's
if you go up towards Hôtel, it's actually different. You have like more mainstream.
mainstream,
brands.
yeah, exactly. So
It's a bit of a mix. It's more about the perspective of it. It's actually quite
yeah, Rue de Rivoli is a very
all the way
long,
up.
very long streets indeed, and you have a lot of people on bikes because thankfully to our mayor, now Rue de Rivoli is mostly pedestrian and bicycles and just one way for the cars.
Exactly.
So
Not
that's,
so many cars anymore.
and here it's interesting because we have some old pictures from World War II that are showing Rue de Rivoli with the Nazi flag, and now we have some flags here on Le Meurice. There are different flags, so European, French, but this is also known to be the place where the headquarters, so you say the Ritz, here also the headquarters of the general in charge of the Nazis at the time, Von Kolkitz. He was there during the occupation. So apparently, so at the very end of the war, when the liberation happened, apparently he was in charge of burning Paris. That's the one that was in charge by Hitler of burning Paris, of exploding bridges and all of that. And he didn't do it. So what happened? Do we know more about it? So we know the guy was staying here, but
yes, we know that first the order given by Hitler was holded back already in Germany.
okay. So
Even
Hitler
before
gave the order, and first
The message didn't come through right away. We don't know why.
We don't know why. Okay.
Probably, yeah, it's probably on purpose.
Yeah.
He got the message and he thought about obeying or disobeying that message, that order. We say that there's the Swedish ambassador that came to convince him to spare Paris, and that he decided to do it indeed. And some people think naively that it's because he was in love in Paris or whatever. It's not true.
Why is it so naive? I mean, everyone fall in love in
No,
Paris.
but you're
Why
in love
not?
in
Why
Paris.
not him?
I am in love with Paris, of course.
Okay,
but
okay.
That was more strategic of him, of course.
Okay, okay.
He knew it was the end of the war.
Yeah.
He knew he would be judged soon,
Yes.
probably.
Sure.
So he knew he would be less hardly judged if he was the one who decided to spare Paris.
Yes.
And actually that worked. Because imagine you have to disobey an order given directly by Hitler himself, which means that you have guts
Of
or
course.
whatever. So that's probably the reason he did it.
So we're talking, if you guys want to look up, we're talking about General von Coltz, so it's hard to, so it's like Cholitz.
Exactly.
That's right. Okay, so if you want to know more about this guy, so he was in charge of Paris during the last year of the occupation, and so he didn't burn. So now we are, now we let the Nazi over there, and now we're arriving in the Tuileries. So this is where the Fashion Week, this is one part of the Fashion Week happening here, right?
Exactly.
We can see already some welcoming signs, so that's pretty cool.
So those are all the showrooms.
So those are names of showrooms.
Exactly.
Première classe, who's next? Okay, so I just assume that.
The new tendance, like you say, the new tendency, the new trends.
Okay.
And
So this is where it's happening. So
Yeah.
so the
mainly professionals.
okay.
You can, through like press or journalists, you can get some entrances, some tickets to get in. It's more like for professionals. Because it's for buyers, because this is the prêt-à-porter, like you said, the ready-to-wear.
Okay. So I see that it's going to be all until the 1st of October. Oh, so that's so they have what, 1 week to settle all in, and so it's starting on Thursday, or normally it's like Wednesday to Wednesday or something like that, or no?
Usually it's Thursday and Wednesday to Wednesday. Like you said.
Okay, like a week, obviously.
About a week, yeah.
And so we can see a little bit, maybe, I don't know if it's better on this way or the other way. We can see a little bit what they are doing inside. So it's a very long, very long rooms here, and on the other side it's even longer. And that's where all the brands will be. So it's more like a fair here. It's not really not the glamorous side. Let's say this is more for
it's more
merchants
like, or smaller designers, because you do have, like we said, you have the Maison de Haute-Couture who also make ready-to-wear. So
Okay.
during the prêt-à-porter, you can see Chanel ready-to-wear, of course, shows as well, and such brands like Dior or others. But you obviously have the only ready-to-wear brands that are also showing sometimes. So this year is a bit special because there's going to be only like
this year it's obviously special.
20 physical like shows,
Yes.
and the rest will be shown digital apparently. So.
Okay, so if you guys want to follow the Fashion Week this year, I think it's much easier than the other years, because they're gonna put everything on record. I don't know exactly how to get into the best défilé, the best runaway, but at least you can see them online. So for today, we saw one model, so I'm pretty glad we did. One photo shoot, so that's pretty cool. So now. All the places, Palais Royal, the Louvre,
exactly.
and another one by the Champs-Élysées over there. That is a massive one, right? And Grand Palais. Okay, so those are all the places. But the Tuileries is known to be really, to me at least, it's known to be always there. There's always something happening in the Tuileries Garden.
Sometimes there are some years there were actual runway shows going on inside the garden.
Ah, I see. Oh, it's very nice. I think we should go exploring more the garden. It's true that now with the COVID being here, we don't have a lot of foreigners, and the Tuileries Garden is known to be attached to the Louvre Museum. So now the garden is pretty empty. So guys, if you want to come whenever it's possible, I mean, let's enjoy the garden. And now there's not a lot of people, but at the same time, it's kind of sad, we're used to that. And maybe we can just continue to explore and let you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to remove my mask to say goodbye. But it was nice to see you today, Marie. Thank you very much. We really enjoy this little tour of the. Also, it's a neighborhood that Parisians are not really going very often. To be honest, it's more businesses, or it's more for fashion. So it's not a.
Work around. You do come here, yeah.
But
some offices.
But we didn't saw any bakeries or cafes, so it's not really the place I Of course, if you have money, why not living here? But I kind of like where I am in the Marais. So I don't know if you, but it was nice. So thank you so much, guys, for watching us. Come back next for a new video. It will be probably with Bertrand, but I will let you the surprise. And again, please share this video, like, subscribe, and you can of course tip Marie. So thank you so much, and mwah, have a great day. Bye bye. Ciao, guys.